Let them cook 12, 14 hours, and they're going to enjoy a great snack when they're done. Starting off, I have a very sharp knife. It's called a boning knife. It's what I use to trim. Other people use different ones. This one makes me happy. Got a couple different parts of the brisket. Got the point up here, and the flat down here. What I'm going to do is trim the majority of this fat off. This is a select grade brisket. It's one of the lower grades. Normally I use choice, but we couldn't find them in the store. So we're going to go with what we've got, just like you would in your own backyard. I'm going to go slow and easy. I hate cutting myself. What I'm going to do is start right here and trim this piece of fat out and slowly work on the silver skin here. It does not allow the penetration of smoke or flavor, so if we take that off, we'll get a little bit of better tasting meat. I'm going to make slow cuts, easy, just like you would at home. No need to rush. You can see I'm peeling off just fat right now. Just working my way under it, taking it off in sections. Doing my best not to catch a lot of meat on the fat. Why waste it? We paid for it. Just easy cuts. See how easy it cuts off with a nice sharp knife? Working our way in. You can see the difference in the grain of the meat right here. I can show you the grain of the flat, the grain of the point. And notice how much more fat is marbled into the point meat. I think that's the best tasting. Cutting away, just working my way in, digging in, trying to get a lot of the fat out between the two cuts of meat. I trim away. A lot of people like to trim all the fat off the meat. I don't. A lot of your flavor comes from the fat. I just like to take it down a little bit. A lot of your competition cooks don't worry about the ends because they're not going to use them. But this is a family eating brisket, so we're going to do it like we would for ourselves. Just working slow, taking easy cuts, digging in, pull it back. Trim through here. This little bit of fat in here is not going to make a big matter. I'm going to take it out anyway. I'm going to peel this off right here. Notice how I like to work with the knife blade away from me. Accidents happen and I don't intend to become one. Got a little bit of the meat on there. It's alright, won't hurt anything. But as I'm working, trying to peel some of this silver skin off. You can see I'm getting a little meat. It's going to look a little rough when I'm done trimming it. But when we're done cooking, it'll look smooth and nice. You can see the grain of the meat. Nice big long grain this way. Going this way, where the point cut here goes this way. Just trim this off here. Take a little time. The more time we spend now, the better it's going to be later. You don't need to worry about every little piece. Get the majority of it. So I hold it up. I can work my knife edge right under it. Pull it back. I'm not a professional meat cutter, butcher, so I may look a little awkward to some, but it works for me. Rugged, but it'll cook right down, be nice. Take a little bit more out right here. You don't don't have to get it all out. I do because I like to season on the inside of the meat. And that way I can get the seasoning right in. Just keep trimming away. Take your time, little cuts. I'd rather make a lot of little cuts than a big cut and cut away too much meat. Meat's expensive, why waste it? Now I'm going to trim a lot of this off right here. Cooks leave it on, cooks take it off. I like to trim it down to let the smoke and the flavors of the seasonings get deep into the meat. The more fat it has to go through, the less flavor you're going to get right into the meat. Would you rather eat meat or fat? You can see how thick it is right here. I'm just wheeling it right off. This is soft fat. Cuts pretty easy. Just keep whittling away. So you got a little meat on there, not much. It's pretty thin. Got a lot of meat on this one. Oh well, things happen. Not as much as I thought. There's some meat there, but you can see it's basically all fat with a few meat fibers. You can see the fat coming right up through it, so I didn't cut that deep into it. As we peel away. This doesn't have a heavy fat cap. Slippery knife, slippery hands. A lot of people wear gloves. Cooking for the family, I don't just wear gloves. My hands are clean. Wash them often. Wipe off when you get dirty. You can see I'm just lifting it up here as I'm working my knife under it. Peeling off a good part of it. I'm trimming this one down a little bit. As I said, take your time. Be careful. Peel it back. We'll make one more cut here. Easing it off. It's not the prettiest now. When it gets done, it's going to look really nice. I'm going to set this one aside. A lot of people put seasonings, flavors, whatever in their apple juice. I'm just using basic plain apple juice. Drawing up a nice syringe. These are 1 ounce syringes. They're available on bottles of Frito butter or injection, just about any store. I'm just easing it in, working it in. It's going to get messy. We're going to go through on the other side. I'm doing about an injection an inch, just working it in. As I'm applying pressure, I'm just slowly trying to pull it out of the meat. You can see the meat puff up around it. See what I mean about getting messy? It happens. You know, you can wear an apron if you want. I chose not to. Just I normally use a 2 ounce syringe. This is a 1 ounce syringe. Working the apple juice. I like to buy a good quality apple juice. One with more real fruit juice in it. I try to get 100% juice, 100% apple juice. A lot of it's cut with grape juice. This is the messy part. This is what we're going to do wet hand, dry hand. I'm going to keep one hand dry, one hand wet. I've got some mustard, just plain mustard here, which I'm just going to coat on and rub in. The mustard adds a little flavor. It holds our spices on. A little mustard on this side. Just rubbing it right into the meat, getting it into the grains. And then on my other finger. And I'm using a rub. The rub is just a seasoning mix we've already done. It's a mixture of salt, sugar, brown sugar, cayenne pepper, cumin, some other spices. I'm just going to lightly coat our brisket here.
Don't drop your sunglasses in.
Taking a little break here, I want to turn around and check my pit temperature. I like to cook at 250 degrees, and if we look at it, we're dead on at 250. You can see the wet hand, dry hand. Stuff on the dry hand is going to come off very easily without caking my hand. The wet hand, you can see how it's caking up on it. We'll flip it over, take our mustard, get it right here in the pocket, squirt it on. Some people say the vinegar and the mustard aids in tenderizing the meat. Believe me, you're not going to taste the mustard when we're done. I'm putting it on kind of heavy, working it in, having fun. You learn how to give good massages when you work your seasoning and spices in your meat. Right, girls? Having fun, just getting it in. You can see a couple places I missed here with the silver skin, but it's not going to make that big a difference right now. Got a fairly heavy wet coating now. Again, a wet hand, dry hand. Just put it right on. Put it on fairly heavy. Try and cover everything. Get the edges. Use a fair amount of spices, but we're using, a fairly expensive piece of meat here. Not by price per pound, but by total pounds. $1.80 a pound times 10 pounds, 18 bucks. We're going to have a yield on these of about 50 to 60%, which means we should have 5 to 6 pounds of good usable meat on a 10-pound brisket. When it cooks, it shrinks right down. Adding the injection that we did will cause less shrinkage. You can see how the mustard is melting the rub right in. I'm going to add a little more. Again, it's just a mixture of salt, sugar, brown sugar, black pepper, spices, cumin, cayenne pepper. I'll let it sit there for just a minute. Add a little ham. What I'm going to do, take some of these fat pieces we had trimmed off. I'm just going to throw them on. And the reason we're doing this is we now have a self-basting brisket. Throw it right on there, let it melt in. Some don't. Just throw it right on. We're done. Close the door. I like to say use a half hour of your cooking time, where you add a half hour.
A lot of people cook at 250, a lot cook at 225. If we can stay between 225 and 250, I'm going to be happy.
We're going to look at our brisket.
The thing about
now.
using a wood or charcoal fire versus a gas or electric fire
or heat.
If you can see the back one, it's a little hard to see back there.
Back
I put that one fat side up and the front one fat side down. A lot of people like to cook fat side up, let the fat and the meat melt through. So I put the one on fat side down for a little bit. It adds a little protective on the bottom in case your fire's too hot. We've got plenty of fat up above, which is rendering out and dripping. You can see how wet the meat is here. That's coming from the internal juices of the meat and from the fat dripping down from above. I'm going to close the door here and keep our heat. As you can see by the temperature, we lost 25 degrees in just a few seconds, half a minute that I had the door on. As you can see what I said about opening the door and losing heat, we just shut the door. We've lost 25 degrees in the short 30 seconds that I had the door open. It'll take it a few minutes to build back up the temperature. I've got an easy fire going. I don't want a roaring fire. I'd rather have gradual heat changes. You can see it start going up again right now. You can see the thermometer moving up. Give it a little time, it'll be right back up the temp that we want to have it up. Very juicy, very tender, smoking away. It's been about 3 hours now. You can see down below, the other rub giving a little bit different color. Things are nice. Just going to close it up. You can see having the thing open again for 20 seconds. We lost about 25 degrees. You really want to open your smoker as little as possible because the heat return is fairly slow. It's just starting to creep up. We're after time. Time is quality. I think you need a very dark, heavy smoke coming out. Really you don't. You get the same effect from almost a clear smoke and a much cleaner taste. When you have dark, heavy smoke, you don't have a good burn. And you get a lot of creosote build up on your meat. It's still going strong. Let's take a quick look and look at our meat inside. Here we have our briskets, plenty of natural moisture on them. Look at the beautiful dark golden color they're getting. Very nice. You can see the meat up above, how it's cooked. The fat pieces adding to the natural basting of our product. Take a look. I've already put one coat of glaze on our brisket. As I said, I like to keep my sauce warm. We spend hours. I like to keep my sauce warm. We spend hours smoking our meat to get that delicious smoky flavor in it. What I do is I put my sauce in the smoker for an hour or two, let it heat up so it'll spread nice on the meat, really give us a nice glaze, and it picks up that wonderful smoked flavor we've been putting in our meat. A lot of people just pour their sauce on straight from the bottle. I don't think it has near the flavor of a sauce that's cooked. This brisket is quite hot right now, so I'm going to pick it up carefully, if I can without breaking it. Youch! Just move it over here on the table, let it sit for a few minutes and cool. Our brisket's cooled down. As you can see, we have a beautiful shine on our meat. Nice glaze on it. You see the slit I made yesterday, the cut actually, to where I squared it off so I can cut with the grain without having to search for the meat fibers underneath our glaze. So I'm just going to take my knife. I think it's cold enough to hang on to right now. And we're going to make a cut in here. Cutting careful. Now comes the moment of truth, where I'm going to separate it. We'll see if we have any moisture in our meat. My God, look at the moisture in that meat. Shine. You see the smoke ring. Beautiful color. That, folks, is a beautiful brisket. You can do it very easily in your own backyard, just like the professionals do at the barbecue restaurants.
Hello again, folks. I'm Stu, Grill Chef Carpenter, and today we're doing chicken. I'm going to start off with a very simple marinade. It's popular in the New England, Middle Atlantic states. It's basically an oil and vinegar marinade and dipping sauce for doing our chicken. So we're going to start with 1 egg, whip it up, really good. Then into that, we're going to emulsify 1 cup of salad oil. Just whip it in very slowly. A little at a time, just keep stirring. You can see it starting to thicken up. It's almost like making a mayonnaise. Just keep slowly stirring it in, letting the egg absorb the oil. We keep stirring. 1-2 forks works really good for this. You don't need a whisk. You can really see it start to thicken up now. Staying nice and white. I'll add a little more oil. As we get to the end, we can add the oil a little faster. Just keep stirring it in. The oil will combine with the egg to emulsify the add the vinegar, it'll stay together and won't separate like many Italian salad dressings do in the bottles. We'll add the last bit of oil. Whip it right in. Looks pretty good to me. Now to add to this, we're going to add 3 tablespoons of salt. I'm using kosher salt with this rather than iodized table salt. I think the kosher salt has a cleaner, purer taste. You don't get the taste of the iodine. A tablespoon of poultry seasoning. A few shakes of black pepper. That in there, plenty of pepper. Whip this in real fast. Get it mixed up. Incorporate it into the oil. Now I'm going to add 2 cups of cider vinegar. I'll just dump it right in. We mix it in, whip it in good. Mix it around and catch all the stuff that's stuck inside the bowl. Just whip it right in. Mix it up good. And that is a very simple East Coast recipe known as firehouse chicken or Cornell barbecue chicken. Now what I like to do with mine is take it up a little bit more. I've got a multi-herb seasoning blend, which I just like to shake a bunch of that right in there with it. Add little flavors. We'll mix that in. As you can tell, we're using really scientific measuring. Let that sit right in there. I like to add a little more. Without the additional seasonings, it works good as an injection. To use it as an injection, now you want to strain it. I'll spatchcocking the chicken, which means I'm kind of going to cut it right down the backbone with a pair of scissors, fold it open, fold the wingtips under, and I like to cook my chickens this way. So we'll start with just a little favorite of mine, it's cutting off the tail. Then I stick the scissors right in here, go right down the backbone, just cutting it. You can hear the cracking of the bones. Poultry shears with their curved blade work really well for this, but ordinary kitchen shears will work. Sometimes you get a little tough spot and you get a little extra leverage. I'll just take my boning knife, slit it open right in there, take and unfold my chicken. Then what I like to do is just trim some of the excess fat and loose skin out, trim the fat from around the tail area. Check it over here. Look inside for things that don't belong. There we have a spatchcock chicken. Now when I cook it, I take the wing tips and just carefully fold them under. It brings the wings up away from the breast. It allows more heat, even heat, and better color on the breast meat. This is a chicken that has not been fed marigold. It has a white skin. If they're fed marigold petals, they have more of a yellow skin. Open it up. When we put it in the bag, it doesn't matter if the wings come down or not or whatever. Pick it up. Hopefully we can get it in the bag fairly easily. Take our marinade. Dump it on top. I'm going to throw some chicken thighs in a little bit later, right in the same package. We'll give it a quick zip close. Shake it up good to make sure everything's covered, as will happen. We'll just be a little more careful when we pick it up. Shake it up really good. Let it marinate overnight. There we are. Easy, simple chicken. Done. I've got the chicken we already marinated. So I'm going to, again, add a little more lube to the grill grates. And I'm going to throw the chicken on skin side down for just a second. Let it drain a little bit as I reach over for my canister of rub. I'm just going to shake some on the underside of the bird here. Put it on pretty heavy. And there's a reason for that. When I flip it over, it's going to fall down on our grates, which is okay. It doesn't bother me because it's going to add a little flavor from the fire as it cooks in the fire. I'm just shaking this on. I'm putting it on kind of heavy again. I'll go over here and rub it in. I move the leg, it looked kind of bare. I may do this again later in the cook. Add a little more rub. I'm going to start it this way, a few minutes, about 20, 30. I'm going to turn a little bit. A little later after that, turn it again. We're about 40 minutes into our cook, and you can see where the rub's starting to set on the chicken. It's drying out a little bit and we're getting some color on it. What I'm going to do is turn my chicken a little bit, rotate it, bring the dark meat, which is a little harder to cook closer to the fire, on the fire side. You just turn it sideways, just like this. You can see how it's stiffening up. I'm just going to bring it right around here. Nice and easy. You rotate it at 90 degrees, fold it out. You can see how the smoke roast. They're using pecan wood and charcoal. And I'm going to close her up and let her continue to cook. Beautiful. Glaze on it. One of my things with barbecue sauce is we spend hours cooking our food to get a nice smoked flavor in it. Many people just take a bowl of barbecue sauce, cold, spread it on their hot meat, see what it will do. I like to take my barbecue sauce, stick it in the smoker for an hour or two, let it pick up the real smoke flavor from what we're doing on the smoker, let it thicken up a little bit, caramelize the sugars. As you can see, I'm just spreading the glaze on. It coats the meat just nicely here. I've already coated our chicken. I'm just doing these last couple pieces. I'm going to close the lid. get it done. Let them sit for just a couple minutes and let the glaze thicken right up. You can see how the warm sauce just flows over the meat. Plenty of smoke still on the smoker. Our chicken is up to temp and I'm going to take it off. Now it's hot. So I'm just going to pick it up with some tongs. Set it over here for a couple minutes. I get this whole chicken lifted off.
It's made in South Africa. It won the Vesta Award at the HPBA Expo 2 years ago, I believe. And the neatest thing about it is it's portable, and it weighs 7 pounds. And works perfectly with pellets. Right now I'm cooking with orange pellets, and I'm cooking prosciutto wraps scallops for anything but, and make a wonderful little hors d'oeuvre. Because I'm going to leave the toothpicks in. And,
how long do these cook?
Oh, I'm probably going to keep them on for another 15 minutes.
How long have they been on?
They've been on about 10.
And what temperature do you suppose the grill is right
Well,
now?
I haven't got a clue what my grill is because I haven't got a temperature thermometer in there. But I've done this recipe before, and I usually use a little bit larger scallops, and they're a little bit dunner than they tell you to do. But personally, I cook to my personal preference. Usually, my taste is pretty good.
So what'd you put on the scallops besides the prosciutto?
I used home barbecues, tangerine rubbed, and prosciutto, and that's it.
And that's it, and some orange smoke.
And orange smoke.
And there's how many briquettes in there?
There's 10.
10 briquettes in there.
I break a rule here in barbecue. I actually, truly do match like Kingsford in this little grill because number one, you don't have to worry about starting it.
And you don't taste it.
You don't taste it because I always take the charcoal totally to gray. And underneath the gray here, there's a cast iron smoke box that has the orange pellets in it. And that cast iron smoke box does two things. It delivers the smoke and it acts as a heat sink that moderates the temperature. This little grill is the only one I have that actually turns pellets to ash. And it just amazes me that it can do that with 10 briquettes.
Cool. And these are available online, or?
They are. The website is cobbq.com, cobbq.com, and it's a wonderful product. It's been a wonderful melding of our two companies because they sell my cast iron smoke box and they sell pellets, and really nice folks. One of these days I'm gonna meet them face to face. It's all been over the telephone, but really nice folks. Hopefully I'll do good tonight.
How long till turn in?
22 minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, these are culls here.
Boy, perfect texture.
Now see,
And that's a cull.
You can't judge.
And that's a cull.
You should say
You sent all the bad ones in.
place, didn't you?
Oh my God. I'm telling you what, it's got the back of the throat bite too. And not the mouth, but the back of the throat.
we might have done all right today.
That's
How'd you get lucky? Who did them?
I did, but they were ready a little early. Our timing is off a little today.
Why is that? Because of the temperature? Or?
I tried to cook at higher temperature.
Oh.
I mean, it's really not off because I mean the rib, that's not too.
It was because of his temperature last night.
No, but I mean,
His temperature last night?
yeah, but the temperature, the heat, the temperature, it's a good warming to the rib. I mean, to turn in,
I think they're good.
I know.
See, I had to pull them. I pulled them at 10:30. We're done a little
I
early.
think they're great. Not good,
Am I glad I didn't go up there and judge? You bet your last nickel on. They told me I could hang around that soon.
So what'd you think?
They pay through 15 places, maybe we'll get a 15.
I'll tell you what, I'll bet you.
We can go to Waffle House again.
If they let you work?
Let us in. On the back, sir.
No, you won't see that back. They peel silver steel.
And what are you supposed to do?
Well, they say you're supposed to get all 6 ribs out of one rack.
I believe you did.
No, I used to.
I believe you did.
I just can't ever get 6 pretty ribs out of one rack. Sometimes it takes 6 racks to get 6 ribs. But today, I don't know, I don't feel too bad about it.
Aren't they terrible?
See that?
That's got a good tug right there in the middle too. Yeah, look at that.
So, it's all in the hands of the DSJs now.
Of the DA judge.
Yeah, that too. Actually, if we weren't all friends, somebody get a hurt feelings every once in a while.
I missed that picture. I wanted to take that picture. Get that rib bone. Is that a good rib?
Y'all have to eat with 2 hands. He don't want to give up. He don't want to give up those beans.
Where you got those pretty things?